in a distant quadrant of space, amongst the nebulae and asteroid clusters, a cargo ship listed cautiously amongst the rubble, moving in smooth, calculated, cautious weaving maneuvers. Within the ship, however, chaos reigned. Feet stomped along the metal floors in myriad directions with different purposes and destinations and levels of urgency. Most urgent, however, were the steps of Commander Geltas, whose stern countenance was matched only by the aura of rage that flowed around him. His destination was the command bridge of the vessel. His entrance was noted by the pilots and engineers manning the busy consoles and operations, but none were aware of the motivation or source of upset. Mr. Edelgard, would you care to explain to me why I woke up from my cryosleep to see us leaving an uninhabited planet that was not part of our projected course? Good morning, Captain. And that's Lieutenant Edelgard. We noticed a risk of running out of fuel. I took the executive decision to restock on organic compounds. The planet isn't registered under any protections, so it was no issue at all. Commander Geltas approached with enhanced aggression, slamming his fist into the console nearest him. His eyes never wavered from Edelgard's. It is an issue, because I have executive power. Not you. An unregistered planet is a heightened risk, not an allowance. What damages may we have done to the flora and fauna of that planet? What hazards may have we taken on board? The options were to inform me and find an alternative. With all due respect, which is all of it. Of course, sir. With all respect. Timing and mapping showed no viable solution, and our budget doesn't allow for requesting a refuel hauler to divert course. I think even your lofty self would agree our company doesn't enjoy needless spending. Do not test me, Edelgard. My patience wanes. Of course not, Commander. What's done is done. Elsewhere on the ship, an empty hallway echoed with the distinct wheeze of the TARDIS materializing. As the ship solidified into existence, the door creaked its distinctive creak and two figures stepped out. One calm and unbothered, the other wide-eyed and rather discombobulated. Where are we, Doctor? It's definitely not a train. Feels different than anything I've experienced. Because it is Todar. Let's see. Recycled air, perfectly balanced composition, artificial gravity. Definitely a spaceship of some description. Too sterile to be a cruiser or luxury vessel, too tidy for military. I'd say it's probably a long-distance hauler. Wow. So the first place we end up is precisely where I would have ended up. Not the best start to our journey together, Doctor. I didn't come here for the scenery, Todar. Something strange is happening on this ship. I noticed the readouts while we were traveling in the Voltex. A very unique and strange psychic output. Not human. Not anything I recognize offhand. Trust me, Todar, something is afoot here. Todar scoffed and chuckled at the doctor's casual pomposity, but could only maintain his stoic facade for a few moments. He broke down into fascination and curiosity with his new surroundings, walking ahead of the calm steps of the doctor, examining every new strange feature that surrounded him. The doctor's turn to chuckle came as he silently reveled in the excitement of his new companion. In his mind, he considered the layout of the ship, and decided the route that they should take to find the bridge of the ship. The psychic output worried him. Seeing something unknown frequently did. The doctor had never been a fan of the unknown. She scudded across the long metal halls, frantic, fearful, hungry, confused. The fine hairs lining her legs felt pained by the hard, smooth, cold floors they tread across. Wrong, bizarre, dangerous. The large open spaces triggered every instinct and impulse her body had evolved to avoid. Everything was wrong, everything was dangerous, everything was terrifying. Hunger, safety, fear, hunger. She found a passage. It led into a small cave, still hard, still smooth, still metal, but with obstacles, structures, crevices, places to hide, safety, protection, preparation. She hid herself. under something large, with a dark gap beneath it. Hard, still, but something soft hanging from above it. With a single arm, she reached out and touched the soft thing. Comforting, calming, strange. The cold, hard, smooth ground began shaking, trembling and quaking. Her hairs picked up every movement tenfold, sensing the location, the speed, the size. Large, long poles with strange protrusions at their base stomped into the cave and moved in towards another large structure, which was moved. As the large, long poles bent in the middle to rest on it, revealing a large, thicker portion with more long poles on either side and a big protrusion at the top. She moved cautiously forward, sensing this moving being, analyzing it. The smell of blood, the sound of a heart, the static fizzing of a brain. Food. Centering her instincts, sharpening her focus, she reached out forward towards the being, sensing its mind, reaching into it, pulling apart the thoughts and dreams and memories within. None of them made sense to her, but the emotions attached to them did. This was her purpose. This was her drive. She found sorrow, depression, hopelessness, failure, misery, loathing. She sought the blackness in the being's mind and probed it, expanded it, engorged it.
Adagald scratched his head in growing confusion. His normal today had suddenly grown dark and bleak. Out of seemingly nowhere, the darkest thoughts of his mind began growing stronger in his head. He thought of every bad day in his job, every humiliation he'd experienced at the hands of Geltas. Then his dark thoughts grew beyond. He thought of his mother dying alone in a poor, unheated home while he'd been unable to visit due to his job, and how his arrival back home was so prolonged he had missed her funeral. The relationships that failed due to his long journeys and demanding schedules. All his failures, all his misgivings, every shame, every regret. They grew and grew in his mind, worse than ever before. Without even registering the start of his breakdown, he began crying, then sobbing uncontrollably. His body began shaking as he cupped his face in his hands, trying as hard as he could to find some stabilizing force in his mind. He couldn't find one. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. I can't keep doing this. He cried out between barely stifled sobs. The whirlpool of depression gave way to anger, then hatred. He slammed his fist into the table, pulled open a drawer on its side, and pulled out the pistol he kept in it. The plasma ammunition was already loaded. He knew how to fix everything. He knew the only way to fix everything.
She watched as the being used one of its long poles to lift a strange object to its protrusion. Then she witnessed a flash of light and a tactile sensation of a loud noise. The being fell to the floor, limp, lifeless, fresh. She approached cautiously, hoping to ensure the being was no longer alive. Confirmation. All life functions were no longer sensed. She could feast. She would no longer be hungry, only confused, only scared, only in danger, only fear. She must hide again, away from the carrion, away from what other predators would hunt.
The doctor heard the sound at the same time as Todar, but he'd felt the build-up to it moments before. The wave of misery that flowed out from the source of the sound infiltrated his mind and terrified him. They both ran down the halls, instinctively knowing the turns to make to follow the source. The sliding door to the small bedroom was still open, and the doctor heard Todar gasp in repulsion before he could see the cause. A body, torn apart and obviously eaten, and lifeless on the floor. It was a truly gruesome sight. They were joined by other staff from the ship shortly after, 2 men and a woman who were similarly stunned by the horrible visage before them.
What was... Oh my goodness. What's happened in here?
You two, hands up.
Excuse me, sir. You don't think we were involved with this? Look at this corpse. It's obviously been devoured.
You two are strangers who happen to be in the same room as the corpse.
Oh, wait. Both of you shut up for a minute.
Interjected Todar, approaching the corpse carefully, bending his knees to get closer.
Look at his temple, or what's left of it. Those are plasma burns. Whatever did eat him, did it after he died. This was a suicide. A suicide? Why would Aragald ever...
It's easy to make murder look like a suicide, Farron.
The taller, stronger of the men quipped quickly, never breaking stern eye contact with Todar.
Todar met the gaze with equal disdain. Now look here, there's an easy solution to this entire debacle. Todar, how familiar are you with 20th century Earth films? We watched a bunch of them in history classes. Well then, should I say the thing? A pause as Todar considered what the doctor was planning. The penny dropped and Todar smirked. Ah, count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Take me to your leader. The procession of captives and crew marched through the halls towards the bridge, unaware of their observer. She watched them from the crevices and depressions she could find. Her mind scanned them all individually. The hunger was returning. The fear was growing. Her arms grasped around on the strange, uncomfortable, smooth, cold floor, while her mind poked each of the large beings, finding who had the most weaknesses, the most damage, who she could eat next. But she had to act cautiously. They were risks until they were broken. The alarm was sounded. What's happened this time? If Edegald is responsible for another mishap, I swear.
Edegald is dead, sir.
Dead? How?
We aren't sure.
Like hell we aren't sure. It was a suicide. A suicide and then something ate him.
So alleges the person found with the corpse. We don't know anything.
Helgelard, your obstinance is getting tiresome. We have no reason to suspect these stowaways. And do you really think the corpse we saw is something these two could have left behind?
Do you really think Edegald is the type to...
I do. I really do. I understand him so well. This entire existence is horrible. I've been teetering on the edge for so long. I miss Edegald, but I envy him. He escaped this entire travesty of a life. I wish it could have been me. I want it to be me.
In a shockingly speedy twist of events, Farron lurched forward, ripping a blaster off Helgelard and attempting to raise it to her temple. Todar interceded with surprising speed, knocking her down and tossing the blaster far across the room. Todar looked up, seeing Helgelard in shocked, frozen bewilderment, and the doctor frozen as well, but with a look of perturbed concentration. I need you all to calm down. There's too much noise. I need to focus.
She felt a primitive frustration at the impeding of her attack and the prolonging of her next meal. But she also felt heightened fear. One of the beings was different, was considering, was sensing. She watched it turn towards her direction and retreated deeper into her hiding place. She must be careful. She must be quick.
Something is amiss here. I think the pieces are starting to come together. Farron, how are you feeling now?
Better. I don't know what came over me. I've never been like that before. I don't know what I was saying.
You have, though, haven't you? Not to that extreme, but you've definitely had the tickle of those feelings in your mind, haven't you? There was a tense, silent pause, punctuated only by the labored breathing of every overexerted person in the room.
Yes, but only slight. Never enough to act on. Never enough for... that.
I expected as much. Commander, this situation is decidedly more complex than any of us, even myself, realize. I need information. Why, Doctor? Why should I acquiesce? Because I am the Doctor, and if you don't listen to me, others will die. You've already seen it almost happen. A moment passed. Geltas considered his options carefully, his eyes scanning everyone in the room. He focused on Farron last, and saw the fear in her eyes. He was certain of his choice. Very well, Doctor. What do you need to know? Thank you. To start, what planets have you visited recently? Only our standard route. No, wait. Edegald did an unsanctioned descent on an unregistered planet earlier. He said we needed more organic materials for fuel. How does this ship acquire them? Surface scoops. We collect plant materials, which are converted by the engines. We avoid doing it on registered planets because of risk to local wildlife. Perhaps the wildlife wasn't the one at risk. What was the planet? I don't know. As I said, it's unregistered. I'll know it. Check the trajectory you've taken thus far, and we can locate the planet. It'll take a few minutes. The tension in the room continued while computers flipped, flicked, and sounded off to the strings of commands being given to them.
Todar found a chair that was unoccupied in the bustling bridge and sat down, feeling glum and tense. Farron noticed his troubled demeanor and approached cautiously.
I'm sorry. I'm sure that was a very tense moment.
It was, but that's not what has me scared.
Then what's wrong, if I may ask?
I've been there, some time ago. There was a train, and a man who wanted to push me over the edge. He almost succeeded. I ran away from something and hoped I'd be walking into my death. I tried to make it happen.
I don't know why I did it. It wasn't something I'd do. But I understand fear. I understand trauma. I understand these feelings even when they weren't my own. You're still here. That's bravery. You're holding on. That's heroism.
I don't feel very heroic right now.
I don't have a blaster burn on the side of my head because of you. I can't think of anyone more heroic.
Their interlude was cut short by Gaeltas enthusiastically calling out to show the recovered data. The doctor loomed over the display only a few seconds before his grim face became forlorn.
I know this planet. It has a name. Ergold made the most grave mistake.
What is it, Doctor? What is it about this planet that makes it so bad?
The planet is Phobius.